afternoon. How are you?
Very good afternoon. Doing well. And yourself?
It's fine. Welcome to Free Talk with Mr. B. I think we're here at the Shangri-La.
Yes.
Did I say it properly?
Yes, you did.
Here in downtown Dubai. Please, can you tell me and our broader audience around the world who you are?
Thank you so much for having me here. Firstly, it's a real pleasure to be on your podcast. I'm Arshi Ayub Mohammed. I spearhead an organization in the UAE which is primarily into mining and manufacturing activities. Additionally, as my role to a senior advisor in the World Family Offices of the nation, I look into strategic partnerships in the fields of defense, in the fields of furthermore in precious metals, and also into a couple of activities in the AI, virtual reality, and augmented reality space. Uh, Personally, an advocate of mental health and specifically empowering not just women, but I think every strata of society. So that in a nutshell would be me.
Wow, and that fills a lot of volumes. I guess if we were to talk about each one, it will go quite far. But the part about mental health and women's health and advocacy for that interests me. Um, what is that about?
Well, I think we all are inspired by the leadership of this nation. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, our Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. This nation has set a very progressive and a very advanced vision way before the pandemic hit, and really emphasized the need for mental health advocacy and the need for more and more open mindsets towards speaking about this specific sector. Um, Specifically talking about being in alignment with the vision of this country, personally I have realized that it is so important that we address these issues mainstream and we don't make it a social taboo to be able to address them. It is as equivalent to a physical health issue that one might be facing, and you go to an expert and look at some guidance. Similarly, I think mental health is one sector that needs to that needs to be made more mainstream. It should be a national priority, like it is in the UAE. So I am a personal believer that mental health is an imperative for everybody. We have to address it at the fore. We have to make sure that nobody feels shy, or uh, nobody feels any sort of resistance in speaking about it to anyone. And we need to make sure that this is not considered as being psychotic or being crazy or being termed with any such aggressive terminology. So we have to make sure that this becomes more and more normal, if I may say so. Normalcy in the sector is very important. So we are ourselves completely aligned with the vision of this country in terms of addressing it mainstream.
So globally, many things are being done towards mental health, and on the other hand, many things are being done towards women's health. So I'm very happy that you're on, and very happy that you're involved. Um, Free Talk with Mr. B allows us to talk about these issues and bring it up even more, highlight it so everyone is aware of more things that even you yourself are working on. So I'm glad that you're on, and definitely. Now, from a mental health perspective, is it like the angle is more true for women's health? I mean, mental health is a women's health issue as well as men's health and children's health and so on. What are we doing different to really highlight the women's health part of it?
Well, I think in the stereotypical strata of society that we live in globally, it is very normal for a man to seek help and guidance, and nobody labels him to be crazy or any sort of other aggressive term. However, for a woman, it becomes extremely radical when she seeks help or she intends to seek help. So we have to ourselves individually make aware that this is extremely normal. These are normal issues and they should not be termed as a taboo, or there shouldn't be any stigma attached to these kind of issues. Women's health specifically, because women are undergoing this huge transition personally during the pandemic. I think they have been drastically affected because of the changing life, the changing mentality, the changing sentiment towards health, and they have to address these issues themselves first. They have to accept it that there is something wrong, and they shouldn't shy away from speaking about it, because there is absolutely no harm in addressing them. if you feel depressed, if you feel some sort of an emotion that cannot be handled, one should seek professional expertise.
Yes,
And
yes.
if not, then at least speak to family. If not family, speak to friends. If not friends, speak to colleagues, speak to anybody for that matter.
Yeah, because in the past, many people discount the feelings or the emotions, and they may say, "Oh, just go lie down and you're going to be okay."
Yeah.
But as we are speaking, we both know we must highlight it to be more than that. Just lying down is not the solution. Just pretending is not existing is not the issue. It is addressing the issue. It is highlighting the issue. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes, very much, and lying down or shying away from it is never a solution. Specifically saying that, like I mentioned, speak to anybody. It doesn't matter who you speak to, but speaking to somebody, or for that matter, accepting it within yourself that you are undergoing something and there is absolutely no problem in making it more and more critical to yourself to address
Yeah.
it. So we have to remember, as people ourselves first, women have to accept it. That there is absolutely nothing wrong in feeling depressed, feeling
Yes.
something that may not be going right with you. And I think the pandemic has ushered multiple emotions. We're feeling so many things, but we aren't able to talk about it. So speaking about it is extremely essential today.
Yeah, many of my guests do say that the pandemic has exposed things in our society that we need to address, and there's no shortage of mental health and women's health in the issues that's before us. As you said, admitting it, facing it is like, I guess I would say like half the battle won when we first admit there is a problem.
Well, that's true, and I may say more than half, because the only problem that remains in addressing it is first is the acceptance. That you have to accept within yourself that there is something wrong.
Right.
Once you do that, you won the battle. You can
Very
seeking
good.
help and getting treated is far simpler than accepting it. So the fact that most aren't able to accept it is the real problem, more than the real issue in itself.
Yeah, because there was a man that asked me, "What is my podcasting about?" And I said, "I just want people to give back. I just want them to talk, speak freely." But more and more, I'm seeing that there is an angle here, not only to speak freely, but to speak freely about our health, and speak freely about what are the valuable things that we have that we take for granted, and mental health. Men and women, and here we're talking especially about women, are something that's of value. I think some people say if you have all the riches in the world, of what value it is if you don't have yourself or your mental health.
I think health as a holistic concept needs to be a priority. Mental health being an important component of it. The fact that women today are really fearful of judgment. They're fearful that somebody might judge them, somebody might judge them wrongly, whilst men are not. The upside of it is. So we're hopeful that women don't feel shy about it, because it is going to be what it is. You will be judged no matter what, whether you address it or not. Might as well address it.
And the rest of us in society have to do our part. We have to stop discounting what we're told. I know it came up in the US about children. When a child tells you something, don't discount them and dismiss them. And so as an adult woman, having a mental health conversation, us men and society in general needs to do more listening. On your part and your group as a whole, the people you engage for this avenue, what are some of the steps you think they should be taking next?
Well, I think fortunately we're in a place and country that makes sure that mental health is a definite national priority. Having wellness campaigns, making sure that organizations at an organizational level make sure that this is extremely mainstream. You have campaigns, you have sessions where you speak about it more openly. But like I said, we have to first individually start accepting it, that there is a problem. Be it this is agnostic of any gender. Men and women both need to accept it, that there is a problem and there is no harm in taking it forward to get it treated. So on an individual level, we have to start building up that strength, that mental strength. At an organizational level, I see so many organizations making programs, devising curriculum, and making sure that there are so many initiatives that ensure speaking about things, speaking about any kind of emotion that is felt, making sure team building is more of a fun activity. And at a national level, there are so many things that the government has been doing in terms of wellness, health, landline numbers, making sure there are groups in women's sectors that are speaking about it more openly. I think more than being able to tell you what the nation is doing, it's important that we start learning from each other. If one nation is doing something well for themselves, then the other nations shouldn't be focused upon pitting it against each other. We have to learn from each other.
And start listening to each other.
Exactly. We have to learn from each other, more importantly. If one group is doing something that is very, very noteworthy, very praiseworthy, then we should also do that. Rather than trying to come up with something better, might as well do something that is first essential.
Right.
So that thing needs to be extremely mainstream today. We have to learn from each other. We have to learn the art of collaboration, connection, and making sure that these things impact society, impact men, women, children, everybody, our elders, the entirety of the society.
Years ago in the United States, when they have something they want the population to know, there was an organization called the Ad Council, and they would make advertising and commercials that brought the awareness to. Of course, I don't look at some of the channels you look at, but do they have that here, where it's an actual advert on TV?
There are a lot of initiatives. They have a mental health and wellness policy that has been devised. This is the only country in the world that has a Ministry of Happiness, a Ministry of Tolerance,
right.
which promotes cohesion, which promotes inclusivity, which promotes the most basic concept of having more and more people together in collaboration. Because this is a country that, you must remember, holds 200 nationalities. It may be a very huge thing, but of course we have to remember that these people are coexisting, peacefully coexisting. And how is that happening? It is because the country makes sure that people are happy with each other. People remember that tolerance and inclusion are the only way to progress. And if we remember these basic principles, only then can we achieve economic empowerment, we can achieve society being empowered, we can ensure that there is overall prosperity. So I think these are extremely important virtues that we as people should remember.
Right. Because on the onset you mentioned so many different departments and organizations you're involved in, and we basically just touched on one, and that's why I said there were volumes. My question to you is, I know you're a very busy lady, would you be willing to come back and talk to us again about additional subjects that are passionate towards you?
More than happy to speak about them. I'm extremely focused on promoting culture, creativity in my specific side as well. As a board member to the Al Suwaidi Group and the Foundation in Abu Dhabi, we are promoting specific initiatives in the field of art and creativity, providing them with an online platform and more so integration with technology, upcoming fintech, so that they are able to digitally fragment and create ownership, make it more and more accessible. So I think in our capacity, we're trying to pave way for innovation in the face of creativity, culture, inclusivity, putting them in education, space programs, and also I think empowering more and more people to remember that it may be as simple as being creative, it may be as simple as drawing something, but as long as you like it, as long as you're happy about it, it's perfectly fine.
And I like to hit that button on the happiness factor. I always get the big smiley face because it reminds me of me. So I say, oh, are you happy? Yes. So definitely, and Free Talk with Mr. B is something that you can take electronically and place it on those platforms as we collaborate with the World Health and the World Health Awards that we just had recently. We're able to now elevate your stance on this mental health subject and other subjects using that platform. Now I need to take you to a speakership. I think it's all women who came, and they all wanted to hear more about mental health and women's health issues. And so you're giving them your speech, and now you're saying, you know, I want to leave you with something solid that when you walk away from this conference, you'll remember. What do you want to leave with them solidly at the end of that conference?
Well, I can tell you something from my personal experience. I have faced anxiety. I have faced depression very early on in my life. And I haven't been afraid to speak about it. We all feel that, and it's very, very normal. Just because you have some sort of a privilege today doesn't mean that you haven't undergone sentiments. It's perfectly normal to face these things. We feel it. We're humans. And we have to remember to be human as well. So we face it and it's perfectly fine to address them. Speak to family, speak to anybody, like I said. Don't be afraid to speak about it.
And it's
That's all.
okay to be afraid.
Well, it's very easy to be afraid and actually difficult to speak about it. So I'm hopeful that it's the other way around now. It's
Yeah.
easy to speak about these and address them as well.
And let's keep making it easy for people to speak. Don't judge them before all of the words come out. So when I was saying it's okay to be afraid, but still please progress forward to speak. And so I really appreciate that.
I can say that I'm not afraid to be judged. So everybody is afraid to be judged, and I can safely say that I'm not afraid to be judged. I'm okay to be judged because no matter what society says, you have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
I do remember that there is this life that I'm extremely grateful to. There is this life, there is a beautiful family. I'm very happy for the community of people around me, for the country that I live in, and for the people in my professional circle. Everybody is focused upon doing what they're doing. I am very focused upon upholding my physical and mental health. And no matter what judgment comes through, I have to remember that my mental well-being is my priority.
I must say it's such a pleasure to have you on and for you to, for me to be able to talk to you because you seem to be such an example for all women, not just here in Dubai, but around the world. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
We need strong women like you talking all the time, and not that the strength disavows the weaknesses or the fear, but that it encapsulates how you got to here today, to be free to speak.
And more importantly, that we have a man speaking about it. I'm more happy to see a man speaking about it to a woman, and it's only collaboratively that we can make sure that this becomes more mainstream. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, and it's my pleasure, again, because women's health issues should be fundamental to men's health issues, because the happiness factor, I think we mentioned, both sides need to be happy for all to be happy.
Well, I'm extremely happy, and I'm hopeful that all our viewers also will be. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you on again.
Thank you very much.